The elite teams in college football have oftentimes been teams that have a lot of bias and teams that win championships, right? And it's understandable. But the question today is, how do you determine who is elite in college football and who is not elite in college football, and why is it even important? Well, first of all, I think it's important that we establish who is elite because it makes a difference in preseason rankings and it makes a difference overall. And if you're not in the top 25 preseason rankings, what are the chances that you're going to make it into the college football playoff? And that's really kind of my point. So here's what's going on. There has been the college football playoff since really the 2014 season. So 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 season, it has been college football playoff 4-team. And maybe in the future it'll be different. So I would like to document what's going on and who's elite, so on and so forth in this era as of this year. So heading into the 2019 season, the Cotton Bowl, these are the teams that have been in the Cotton Bowl. And the ones on the left side are the ones that have won the Cotton Bowl. Now the Cotton Bowl is sometimes the semifinal, sometimes it's just a New Year's Six bowl game. But we're going to look at all of the New Year's Six bowl games. And just hang with me here. You'll see the point I'm making. So these are the teams that are in there. Moving on to the All-State Sugar Bowl. These are the teams that have made the All-State Sugar Bowl. And you will start to see a pattern if you're watching these, right? A pattern. So one of the differences is that, like say for instance, the Rose Bowl. So the granddaddy of them all. That was kind of a whatever statement because it used to just be Big Ten and Pac-12, but since the college football playoff has changed to the semifinal and the final of the actual playoff rotate within the New Year's Six bowl games. So these are the winners and players, or winners and losers, if you will. Now, moving on, right? So Stanford's won, pretty cool. USC's won. Then you got the Fiesta Bowl. So Boise State's been in there. That's pretty cool. You got UCF also in the New Year's Six bowl game. So these are the teams, and LSU's been in there. And the teams on the left are the teams that won that year. And then in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, TCU, Houston. That's pretty cool. Those are not annual representatives of elite teams, right? But this video is about elite teams. And you're going to see here in just a second the whole point of the video. And then here's our Capital One Orange Bowl college football playoff New Year's Six bowl game participants. Now, what I'd like to point out is coming up here. So this is a list of all of the teams that are part of the New Year's Six bowl games since the college football playoff. And I'm going to make some marks on the screen here just so you can understand. So immediately, this was just my thinking, okay? Just my thinking was you can take out teams like Houston, draw a line through them. You can take out teams like, let me use this the highlighter thing here. Yeah, there we go. You can take out teams like Houston, Boise State. Let's change colors too. Let's see, there we go, that's better. Houston, Boise State. Man, I want to take Oregon out, but I'm not. Oklahoma State, Western Michigan, Texas. Do you take Texas out? I think you take out TCU. And I think you take out Georgia Tech. Also, you could wipe Mississippi State off there. This is just from my mind. I'm about to prove you a point. So this is kind of my bias. Man, you take Stanford out. I guess just looking at these teams, I keep UCF in. I want to take USC out, but they've had. I'm going to take Texas out of there because last year was really the first year they were really anything. So this is what I was thinking. Like, okay, of all the teams, excuse me, that have made the New Year's Six bowl game. I'm going to take Ole Miss out of there too. Actually, now that I think about it. So take Ole Miss out of there. I may have missed a few, but anyway. Now, these are the teams that have made a New Year's Six bowl game more than once. So, leading the pack with the number of teams is the Big Ten. So the College Football Playoff Committee has shown really more love to the Big Ten than any other team or any other conference. But the truth is, Clemson and Alabama have been dominant in the college football playoff. So the ACC, Clemson obviously is the most dominant team, and they're more dominant than any team in the Big Ten. But the most love from the voters and the most love from, the bowl selection committee, if you will, is the Big Ten. And then the SEC is second with 4. And these are the elite teams in the conferences that have made the New Year's Six bowl game. So, obviously an independent Notre Dame makes it because they've made it multiple times. UCF has made it multiple times in the American Conference. So really we have 7 conferences that have elite teams. And there is only a Power 5. But there's not, I guess my point is, part of my point in this video is that American and the Independent and the Big 12, and I guess you could even throw the Pac-12 in there, is not as elite as a conference than the SEC, the Big 10, and the ACC. Because of these 6 bowl games, and this is what I'm going to highlight here. So you can count Michigan State and Wisconsin out, right? But in each conference, well, I guess I can't use yellow on that one. Let me use blue. So in each conference, right, the most elite team in the conference is obviously Ohio State here. They've made it every year into a New Year's Six bowl game. Clemson is the elite team in the ACC. And Alabama is the elite team in the SEC. But it's interesting to note, I'm going to circle Georgia too because Georgia's made the playoff. And you have to think about the fact that Georgia is always nipping at Alabama's heels. And at times, have beat them. But so they're awesome. They're elite. But Ole Miss and Auburn, they're not. Even though they've made it into the, as far as conference elite, Alabama and Georgia lead that conference. And then I'm going to circle Washington in the Pac-12 because they've made it more than Oregon. So Washington, that's what's crazy to think about when you break things down, is that Washington is more elite than Oregon right now. But we'll see this year. I think Oregon's going to be good this year. Then you've got Notre Dame, UCF, and Oklahoma. Now, for the Big 12 elite, next year could prove to be a big jump for Texas because if Texas makes a New Year's Six bowl game this year, then they can be part of this group. Now, let's move on. Now, teams that made it but only made it once are right here. So these are the teams on the Oregon, TCU, Florida, Texas, Houston. But I think what you can do is you can put an X through Houston and put an X through Iowa, put an X through Western Michigan, put an X through Mississippi State, cross out Baylor, cross out Arizona, cross out Georgia Tech, and definitely cross out Oklahoma State. And then let's even cross out TCU because I don't think TCU over the next couple of years is going to even be considered. So these are the teams that are no longer in the running for having a great program in this current era of football, the college football playoff era. So if you were to go back, in the video and look at the teams that I crossed out, for my bias or whatever, it's kind of similar, but we'll compare it. But anyway, I just wanted to go over. So those are the teams that I think are elite in the college football playoff based on this standard. And if you have another standard, I would definitely like to hear about that standard.